I know we like getting mad at lists on this show, but the way Elite Prospects worded their Carter Yakemchuk recap, it really gives them so much leeway here. It almost makes me even more mad.
Well, that's why people make lists, for people to get mad at them. But let's give a little context to this, Ross. So EP put out a list of their top 100 affiliated prospects ahead of the 2024-2025 season. And Carter Yakemchuk, the 7th overall pick of the 2024 NHL draft, is ranked number 36 with multiple other defensemen that were selected in that draft after Yakemchuk ranked ahead of him in this prospect list. But Ross, you mentioned apart from the first statement, which is fair to get upset at when you start off saying, look, he should be ranked way higher, but we don't have him that high.
The direct quote is, there's an easy argument that Yakemchuk is about 20 spots too low. 20, not 2. 20. Why?
Well, Ross, if it's an easy argument, let's get to it. I mean, I think part of the Yakemchuk, I don't want to say discourse, but where scouts and prospect analysts kind of look at Yakemchuk and they really knock him is the skating, obviously. And we know Elite Prospect is very, very big on the skating. They got the protractor out when guys are doing their stride. Was that a 45-degree angle on his first stride? Things like that. So they're very in tune with how people skate. Yakemchuk, not the best skater in the class. And I feel like they take a look at the boom or bust, and they're not quite sure how high he can go or how low he can go. And he's the kind of prospect where that's kind of fair. Like, if Yakemchuk turns into the player we want him to, he's going to be a big, physical, mean defenseman. He's going to put up points on the power play. He's going to be better in transition as his skating gets better. But also the defensive side of Yakemchuk's game still needs a lot of work as well. So there's really high aspirations and qualities that Yakemchuk has, but the qualities that he doesn't quite have yet kind of give you cause for concern. What if he doesn't figure those things out as a defenseman? If you can't skate and you're not that great at defending, you're going to end up being a power play specialist, and that only lasts so long. Like, usually guys, you get a couple hot years and then you fade. Like, look at a guy like Tyson Barrie, right? When he was hot, he was putting up lots of power play points and it was going well. Now he's sitting unsigned. So
Tyson Barrie's a little bit different than Yakemchuk. Doesn't have the frame, doesn't have the size, the the physicality, all that.
No, definitely. But that's what I'm saying. If Yakemchuk can't put it all together and he's not able to continue that, that's what he could end up. But I guess more the comparison I'm making is the point producing, where like Yakemchuk probably is going to excel and get a lot of his points on the power play. If he's not able to keep that up, where does it leave him?
Yeah, it's a fair question. Elite Prospect's definitely wondering that, because if you move him up 20 spots, he's still below guys who are in his draft class, like Berkeley Catton, who's right in there. But if you're the Anaheim Ducks, you're probably looking at this list a little more upset. Their 3rd overall pick, Beckett Seneca, is at 18 on the Elite Prospects list. So they don't care where you're drafted, is what I'm getting at with that one.
Can we get an ISO cam of Beckett Seneca reading this list and being shocked at how low he is? But I mean,
the way that EP grades is a 1 through 9 scale, and to get an 8, you have to be exceptional at
9
anything.
is the top.
Oliver Moore is their top rated skater in any one attribute, and he has an 8.5 in skating. I have yet to see a 9 across the board here. I was scrolling up though, so I wasn't at the top guys, but even here, 8.5 hockey sense for Matvei Michkov. He's number 2, and Macklin Celebrini's got a lot of 8s, but no 9s, and we haven't seen any 2s either. So it's always very similar. And you look at Yakemchuk getting a 7.5 for puck handling is certainly a tip of the cap to the way that he can control the pace of play with the puck on his stick. And I do think that it is more or less fair when you really kind of boil it all down in terms of the question marks surrounding the skating. And there are some, but the way he can shoot the puck, got a 7 out of the 1 to 9 scale there. And the physicality and passing at a 6, I think those could probably be argued to be maybe a little higher, especially physicality.
Yeah.
Saw him rock guys last year. But you know what? Let's let people sleep. There's been maybe a few times in the last few years where the Senators fan base, ourselves included, hand up, have maybe overhyped certain prospects in different areas. Now, we were right when we were telling people they were too low on Stützle and Sanderson.
Yeah.
That was obvious, but I think it's given us maybe a little bit too much cockiness, confidence, arrogance, call it what you want, where it's like, no, our guys are going to be great. Let's let Yakemchuk have this season in Calgary. I'm still kind of maybe hoping he gets traded to a competitive front runner in the WHL. But look, I think he showed well at this World Junior Showcase enough that I do believe he will make Team Canada at the World Juniors. And let's let his play do the talking this year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And like Ross, we did a little quick exercise trying to be like, okay, of the 35 players ranked ahead of him, who is like egregiously too high and who could Yakemchuk replace? And we didn't really hit any like hard, obvious answers. Like we had a couple guys, we looked at it and we're like, yeah, that's close. But if you want to have him ahead of Yakemchuk, that's fair. Like it wasn't like there was a handful of guys where you're like, how is this guy ranked higher? So although 36, when you just initially quick see it, you're like, what, for a 7th overall pick? How could he be that low? But it is kind of fair. So I get it. I think, Ross, for me, it's tough, and I have to let go of my attachments when you see multiple other prospects that we liked, that we thought the Sens were going to choose instead of Yakemchuk, ranked so high. I'm talking about the Zane Parek's, the Zeke Williams,
11.
Even the Sam Dickinsons. I think he was in the
12
teens
or something. Yeah.
So that's tough when you see that. But again, you're not drafting players for how good they're going to be in their draft plus 1 year.
You don't draft players to know how high elite prospects going to list them?
Well, maybe some teams do. I don't know. Probably the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
But it's all about where you think they're going to end up and the type of career they're going to have. So rest easy, Sens fans. We can get mad at this list, but still be excited for Carter Yakemchuk.
The top 5 elite prospects, and the write-ups are very comprehensive. Highly recommend getting the premium subscription for elite prospects. Macklin Celebrini at number 1, Matvei Michkov at number 2, Ivan Demidov at number 3, Caden Lidstrom at number 4, and Ryan Leonard at number 5, the Washington Capitals' 8th overall pick in 2023. So there's your top 5 and a little bit of insight on 36 for the Ottawa Senators. Their only prospect on the list. They had Ridley Gregg on here last year. Of course, he's graduated, no longer Calder Trophy eligible, which is where they have their cutoff. They do the same for goalies, and Matt Sogard played exactly 6 games last year, making him ineligible for the Calder and therefore this list. Apparently, if you play back-to-back seasons with 6 or more games, you're no longer qualified. So there you go. No Levi Merlainen in the top 15, though I do kind of have a little bit of a bone to pick, but maybe he just didn't play enough games turning pro, and these people aren't dialed into the Senators as you are listening to this, or dare I say, Locked On.